And joining us now, former U.S. Attorney Joyce Vance and Gwen Keyes Fleming, former DeKalb County DA in Georgia. Welcome both. Joyce, first to you. Does the Trump legal team have to go through every page of a document? They said it was like reading Tolstoy's War and Peace 78 times a day from now until jury selection, which I don't think any of us would be able to do. But since this is all digitized, aren't there lawyers in a lot of big cases who can just speed through this process using word searches, or is that not fair to the defense?
Exactly. Yeah. An entire industry, Andrea, has grown up around discovery in criminal cases. You don't have to read War and Peace 78 times a day. You simply search for Natasha and find every page in War and Peace where she's mentioned, and you focus in there. A lot of this material will be duplicative. There will be emails and all sorts of things like that. So I think it's misleading, frankly, to use this sort of an analogy. Trump is a wealthy man. He has the ability to hire teams of lawyers. He has the ability to hire experts who do this sort of computer search. And that will focus their endeavors and their efforts in a way that's much more streamlined than the argument that they try to make in this brief.
And Joyce, sticking to the federal case, last night, former Attorney General Bill Barr said that Donald Trump's run for the White House should not dictate when he goes on trial. Barr even suggesting that he expects Trump to be convicted on some of the charges. Take a look.
So it was a calculated and deceitful plan to remain in office by nullifying and negating certified legal votes.
The fact that he didn't drop things could lead some to believe, and his people who defend him say, that he genuinely did feel that he was robbed, and this was the good fight and the proper fight.
Well, even if he did, and I am dubious about that, but even if he believed that, that doesn't mean you can use illegal means to rectify it. If you think the bank is unfairly keeping your money, there are many things you can do to get it back. You can't go and rob the bank.
Your comment, Joyce?
Right. So I think this is a great analogy, and this is something that we'll see as pretrial litigation advances in all of the cases. This notion that as Americans, we have to abide by the rule of law when we have disagreements about how things work, whether it's a small personal case involving money or whether you're a political candidate who believes that you've lost a national election. There are permissive steps that you can take under the rule of law, but at some point you have to accept the judgment of more than 70 courts that said that there was no fraud in this election and that Trump goes too far. It is, I think, interesting that we're hearing this from Bill Barr, who stood behind Donald Trump for so very long, only resigning from the Justice Department just days ahead of Christmas after Trump had lost that election.
And a good point indeed. Gwen, let's turn to the latest Trump indictment, of course, which is Georgia. Governor Kemp of Georgia was in Atlanta speaking about the indictment and seemed to suggest that he doesn't think that this case could come to trial that quickly. Let's watch.
So, you know, I'm sure I will be a witness in whatever goes forward, so I really can't say much about the indictment. But regardless of what you think about the indictment, when I came out, I guess it was 2 days ago now, and tweeted the election wasn't stolen here and that we need to stay focused on the future. One thing is certain about these indictments, in my mind, in my opinion, this trial, despite what dates anybody's asking for or anything else, it is not going to happen before the election.
What do you think about that, Gwen?
Well, I actually think we need to wait and see what Judge McAfee decides to do. I think much like you saw in the January 6th matter, where the prosecution put forth a schedule and then the defense team was able to put forth a counter schedule. Obviously, those are far apart. You could expect to see a similar thing in the Georgia case. The point is, every district attorney bears the burden of proof to establish or prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. And this district attorney, Fani Willis, has indicated that she's ready to go, and she's ready to go on the schedule that she suggested. I think that demonstrates her confidence in her case, recognizing that there's going to be extensive pretrial discovery, pretrial motions. That does not negate the fact that she is ready to go and seek justice on behalf of the folks that voted her into office.